Hi, this is your personal storyteller. Thank you for checking out my channel. This channel is all about different stories that will sure to pique and intrigue your interests in different genres. I hope you enjoy the story I have prepared for you today. Beneath the Quiet Sky.
Chapter 2: The Things We Never Said. The rain started just after midnight. Elena lay awake listening to it strike the roof in uneven rhythms while memories circled endlessly through her mind. Ethan standing beneath the football stadium lights. Ethan waiting outside her graduation ceremony. Ethan begging her not to leave. She closed her eyes tightly. But memory was cruel. It never cared whether someone wanted to remember. At 7 in the morning, she found her mother sitting in the kitchen wrapped in a pale sweater. Margaret smiled when she saw her. "You always loved rainy mornings." Elena sat beside her carefully. "Do you remember that?" "Of course." Margaret reached for her teacup with trembling hands. "You used to read by the window during storms." For a moment, Elena felt hopeful. Then her mother looked around the kitchen in confusion. "Where's Noah?" "He's at work," Margaret frowned. "Noah's only 10, he shouldn't be working." The hope vanished instantly. Elena swallowed the ache rising in her throat. "It's okay, Mom." Margaret looked embarrassed. "I forget things now." Elena reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "You don't have to apologize." But later, while helping her mother fold laundry, Elena cried quietly in the bathroom where no one could hear. That afternoon, Noah convinced her to walk through town with him. "You've been hiding in the house since you arrived," he said. "I'm not hiding. You practically sprinted away from Ethan yesterday." Elena shot him a warning look. Noah raised both hands. "Fine, touchy subject." They stopped near the river bridge where teenagers often gathered after school. Noah leaned against the railing. "Can I ask you something?" "Depends." "Why didn't you ever come back?" Elena stared at the moving water below. "Because I was ashamed." Noah blinked. "Of what?" She laughed softly without humor. "Leaving, hurting everyone, becoming exactly the kind of person I promised I'd never become." Noah looked thoughtful. "You know Ethan never got married." Elena's stomach tightened. "I didn't ask." "You didn't have to." That evening, Elena found an old cardboard box while cleaning her closet. Inside were photographs, theater tickets, handwritten notes and letters, memories. At the bottom of the box lay a small silver necklace Ethan once gave her on her 17th birthday. She held it carefully. A tiny moon pendant. "You said the moon stays even when people can't see it." That was Ethan, always finding poetry in ordinary things. A sudden knock startled her. Her father stood in the doorway. "I need to talk to you." Elena placed the necklace back into the box. "What about?" Richard stepped inside awkwardly. "There are things you never knew about before you left." Elena crossed her arms. "I'm listening," he hesitated. "The company was failing." Her expression hardened immediately. The Marlow construction company had been her father's entire identity for decades. "You told everyone business was fine." "I lied." Richard sat on the edge of the desk chair. "We were drowning in debt." Elena frowned. "What does that have to do with me leaving?" His jaw tightened. "I accepted money from Ethan's father." The room went still. "What?" "He offered to buy part of the company." Elena stared at him in disbelief. "You hated the Carters." "I hated needing help more." Richard rubbed his forehead tiredly. "When the deal fell apart, I lost everything." Realization slowly dawned across Elena's face. "The argument we had that night," Richard nodded. "I wanted you to marry Ethan because I thought it would fix things." Elena felt sick. "You tried to use me." "I was desperate." "That doesn't make it okay." "I know." His voice cracked unexpectedly. Elena froze. She had never heard her father sound fragile before. Richard looked toward the window. "After you left, your mother stopped speaking to me for nearly a year." The confession hung heavily in the air. "Elena," she looked at him cautiously. "I was wrong." The words stunned her more than anger ever could. Her father had never apologized for anything, not once in her entire childhood. "I don't expect forgiveness," he continued quietly. "But your mother is running out of time, and I don't want this family to remain broken forever." Elena looked away because suddenly her eyes burned. Later that night, she walked to the backyard, unable to sleep. The air smelled like wet grass. The porch light from the Carter house glowed faintly through the trees. Before she could stop herself, she crossed the yard. Ethan answered the door almost immediately. He looked surprised. "Elena." "I'm sorry for showing up late." A faint smile touched his face. "You're only 12 years late," she winced. "I deserve that." Ethan stepped aside. "Do you want coffee?" His house felt warm and quiet. Books lined the shelves. A guitar rested near the couch. The familiarness of it all hurt more than she expected. Ethan handed her a mug. "So," he said carefully, "why are you really here?" "My mother." "I figured." Silence settled between them. Finally, Elena took a shaky breath. "I wanted to write to you after I left." Ethan stared down at his coffee. "But you didn't." "I didn't know how." He laughed quietly. "You could have started with hello." Pain flickered across his face before he could hide it. Elena's chest tight. "I thought you hated me." "I tried to." The honesty in his voice nearly broke her. Ethan leaned back slowly. "You disappeared without explanation, Elena. One day we were planning our future and the next day you were gone." Tears stung her eyes. "My father told me marrying you would turn me into a bargaining chip." Ethan closed his eyes briefly. "I know." She blinked in surprise. "You knew." "He came to my house the night before you left." The room suddenly felt smaller. "What did he say?" "That if I really loved you, I'd let you go." Elena stared at him in horror. "And you listened." "I was 19, Ethan said softly. "I thought I was protecting you." Everything Elena believed about the past began unraveling. For 12 years she blamed herself for abandoning Ethan, but he had let her walk away. Neither of them fought for the other. The realization hurt in a completely different way.
That is the end of this chapter. Check out the other chapters on my channel. Thank you for watching.